I have a problem with the times we live in. On one hand, we live in an age of unprecedented growth and understanding and development across various fields. But on the other hand, the true biological nature of men is overshadowed by quick, cheap fixes driven by the societal narratives. The pervasive influence of these narratives, which often push extreme and distorted views on sexuality, affect both men and women. As perversion reaches new heights, we find ourselves in a world where pornography is normalized and masturbation, or fapping in particular, is often mislabeled as self-love. This has led to disturbing lack of mental boundaries, where fantasies of the opposite sex can spiral out of hand. Amidst all this, the natural dynamics of relationships between boys and girls, especially in countries like India, are increasingly stigmatized. When we examine this combination, the normalization of perversion, the mislabeling of destructive behaviors, and the stigmatization of healthy relationships, it becomes all too clear how acts of violence like rape can occur. The warning signs are right in front of us. It's time we start talking about what needs to be spoken. This video covers a sensitive topic and includes intimate details that may not be suitable for all audiences. It's best to watch this alone with an open mind and perhaps even take notes. If you're here to make fun or play the fool, please leave now. By doing so, you're just showing your own poor character and indirectly supporting sexual violence. Unconsciously, then, when the time comes, you'll either just post a story on Instagram where the damage is done, or you'll fight with the people who post stuff genuinely. Please note that, as anything in life, this is work in progress, subject to new discoveries. As a deep researcher of life, I'm continuously learning, and as our online community grows, we'll likely find more individuals willing to experiment and contribute to our collective consciousness, ultimately improving the experience for all of us. But for now, my personal results from this, which I'll share shortly, are enough for you to begin with the traditional methods and the adopted crap that we've learned from society. So I've spent about a decade of my life understanding the man's side of sexual process ever since I stumbled across it in the most womanizing and perverted way as a 12-year-old in the 8th grade. Today I will guide you step by step. First, sharing my story of how I went from fapping about 6 to 7 years regularly. I did like 5 to 6 times every single day, right? And that was just orgasming every 15 to 30 seconds with the most perverted content. Or just, imagining people like some girl I raped at school or college, or just, some relative. I was really fucked. From there to running 683 days of consistent NoFap. In 2022 to 24, I have the exact dates, but I also relapsed to those 683 days. I struggled again, but systemized my way back to cycling about 200 plus days of NoFap even this year. After that point of relapse, I created a system which is so simple that anyone can start using. But for now, let the philosophy build and structure your mind, as actions without philosophy are like seeds without soil. They may sprout, but they'll never truly take root. So you need to watch the entire story and then go ahead to the system. Of course, the system is a byproduct of the story. And even I literally spent my time looking back at how did I get into that 683 days, because it just came out of nowhere. Of course, I had a small plan. I had some things happening in my life and I just said, now I'm gonna make it happen. But now I have a system through which I am again in that state, right? Like wherein this year I've done more than 200 days. It's like 230 days. The system is really good. So let's just stick with it, build the philosophy. Like if you build a building, like when we are painting in our houses or in a building, they put a primer on the wall. And that primer is really important. The same way the philosophy is really important, so stick for it. It will take some time, but it will show you a step-by-step process. So in this video, I'll walk you through my entire story, sharing every detail and significant moment. Not just as a tale of NoFap, of course, but also this is like the conscious rebellion against self-destructive, unconscious modernity. This is about self-improvement and personal development. I'll also provide you with my straightforward plug-and-play method that I've distilled from my decade-long experience, and along with the practical tips and hacks that will easily help you succeed and desexualize yourself. Given the depth of the information and the scarcity of experiential knowledge on this topic in social media perhaps, and even in schools, fuck, no one knows about this, I assure you that something transformative can happen for you. So be patient, listen with focus and attention, and approach this with the mindset that your life depends on it. I guarantee that by the end, you'll have a new perspective. The sexual narrative is often stigmatized, misunderstood, or overshadowed by perversion. Now it's time we start speaking the truth and work our way through it together. Starting from the ripe age of 12 years old in 2013 or 14, I barely knew about the sexual process. I mean, I had episodes of erections as an 8-year-old kid, and I used to not understand this, but I even told my parents, and they were like, I mean, no one wanted to explain it to me. They just tried to find their way out because it's woo-woo. But by when they're 12 years of age, the talk amongst friends starts in school. Then you had Bhuvan Baum, PB Vines, that guy talk about pornography and sexuality pornography in particular, like it's something so normal and it's good for you. And his comedy skits.
Porn कौन नहीं देखता? देखता नहीं कौन? Porn. हाँ अंकल सब देखते हैं.
But I have no offense against him. I love BB, but it didn't do justice to me as a kid. And then I got GTA 5. GTA 5, fuck. One of the most perverted games in history. Of course the game is good, but then there's this one aspect to it which messed me up. So, anyways, still by now I did not know how sex worked, even though I was like a 12-year-old. I just thought it was intimacy, right? Like if you hold a woman, you kiss her a bit, it's gonna lead to pregnancy. And well, thanks to the school system, we even had biology class that taught us that, but they skipped that entire chapter just to quote unquote tell us that we're saving you from overburden. But anyways, I did not know how the genitals work in that way, as no one would dare speak about it. Even the school teachers skipped it, as I told you. Step by step, I started watching pornography out of curiosity to learn the process. I'm going to educate myself, and it was pretty much the only way to learn because no one's going to talk about it other than those guys. But the problem is that it wasn't the best way to learn it. That's just an entirely over-exaggeration. And I was shocked initially looking at the shit that was going on there to only realize that, fuck, this is the way people procreate, but it looked really painful. Regardless, I got hooked onto it. Because the body produces low amounts of semen. It certainly, probably made me feel good when the body is producing that chemically, and I did not notice it until, one day I was doing that act and the act of watching porn, and I went to the washroom and I was like, fuck, something's happening down here. And the iron was getting hot, right? And I struck right in the place. So while playing GTA 5, there's this strip club thing, and so I remember finishing a mission, I think the first main heist, where you rob a jewelry store, and then, you come across a strip club and it just spawns in there, right? You're partying, and then you give $40 in-game virtual currency, and they put you in a room where the girl is stripped and does an arousing dance for you, right? So I got so into that. I was alone by myself, and I just orgasmed out of thin air. I didn't even touch myself. I was like, I didn't know what was happening to me, but I knew something fun was happening, right? So I felt too fucking good. I was like enlightened at that point, lol. But I quickly rushed to the washroom because I knew the semen had now increasingly increased. Like, it was huge, but it was easy to clean up. So I was like, okay, that was fun. Not that much damage. I went back into my bedroom, closed the game and stuff. And I tried to make it happen again to myself by sort of thinking about it, touching myself, and poof, it worked. I was like, fuck, this is awesome. Then I linked this to the concept of watching porn and doing it, and it worked even better. I was overwhelmed with the process. Why did no one tell me about this? And I kept doing it, and I watched porn and basically fapped. But the problems arose really quickly, okay? So I made this a daily ritual and then scrolled these websites, porn websites. When I got bored, I started using the image of schoolmates and near relatives with what I saw in those videos, just to build variation. I'm like, now I'm gonna think about this chick, that chick, and it's really shit, right? It's destructive and stupid because, I came across so many problems after these times. So I even remember coming across rapes on these websites, right? And it's really common. They make it so common. They just label it as something else, but they're literally presenting rapes, and they even show it as women like it. And I was like, fuck, do women like this? And to be true, now standing on a zoomed out perspective, no one likes it. No one wants to be forced against, and neither will a man enjoy the process in that case. So my mind was fogged up by this point, okay? The narrative still remained constant that masturbation, fapping, and watching porn are normal, when they destroyed many things for me, like the social aspect, especially the social aspect. I liked so many girls, there were so many cute girls at school, but why not just fap the image of them, with the things you've seen on the internet, rather than go to them, make friends with them, ask them out, take them for a coffee. No, fuck your guts, just do this online and I could have literally had a relationship of depth if I wasn't exposed or if I learned to desexualize back in the day, but I didn't know, sadly. But anyways, down the line, we're gonna learn it today. So the dopamine system was fried, okay? It was fried to the level I couldn't see the point in any struggle. I used to go to shit school, scrape through that shit every morning and come home and eat a lot of unhealthy food and go right into my bedroom. Maybe I would play some games, but mostly I would go right in my bedroom and start just damaging, fapping and subtly damage many aspects of my mental health, and I was coding my biology in that sense, right? My neurology. I don't know, like you've heard this quote, right? Neurons that connect together. Right? I don't know. I'll just pop it up on the screen. But yep, that's what was happening, right? I was connecting those neurons. I was getting more attached to it. I was a fat, ugly loser, doing this from the 8th grade all up till the 12th grade. I even tried stopping so many times. It was too tough. It was a daily practice of wasting this good energy, right? It's your sexual energy, it's really good, and feeling low through the day mentally and even sexualizing these women mentally. I mean, the physical energies were definitely low because you're doing it so many times, and then you're mentally thinking about someone and just female classmates or like someone in your school or random people you just saw at maybe your MMA class or some random place. So that's really cruel, honestly, right? In that sense, now when I look at it, I had this Sridhar, right? I mean, I've been brought up with many women in my life, like my mother, my sister, and so many. So, like, the women are so important. So, I've seen people try to do this to my loved ones. Like, I know one guy, I mean, it's pretty obvious, he's just giving photos for that reason because we never get the photos. And I'm like, fuck, shit, karma. But yeah, this needs to change. But anyways, coming to the next part of this video. In the 11th and 12th, I came across these two guys. So I was simply doing the same thing from the 8th grade till the 11th and 12th, and I came across my friends, okay, 11th, 12th, my quote unquote friends. So I considered them friends as, they spoke shit and then like said, oh, it's just fun, and but they were always so perverted, man. They were always watching pornography and following women on Insta, who are kind of semi-naked, right? It's basically kind of just porn, and they projected that around them, right? They're like, now every guy is like this, a guy can't go without this, and initially, before I met these two guys, they were really shit guys, man. Now looking back, I should have just punched them off the face. So I knew it was going wrong, right? I knew that this is not the way. But then those guys were like, no, a guy can't go without it. This is man talk. This is how a man is supposed to be. But, even women accepted it. That's the worst part, right? When an entire society accepts things that they shouldn't accept, like when a girl keeps quiet, when a man is talking in a very womanizing way about another girl, right? That's a shortcoming. You gotta stand your ground for your hierarchy, right? If you're a woman, don't allow another guy to talk about another woman in that sense. Or even if you're a guy who doesn't go, I mean, I knew my shortcoming existed, but I was going through my own mental issues. So if you're clear on something, make sure you stand against it, because otherwise your silence is fueling the opposition. You need to defeat the opposition, as So else it's like you're literally just supporting them. You're supporting the rapes and that, right? Being quiet while you know the criminal act of murder. That's literally a crime to keep quiet when someone's getting murdered. Just the thing is, no one cares about it because, the narratives. So they keep quiet. They're like, oh no, a guy's like this. So we need to change that, and that starts with standing and talking up. I even heard my mother say this, right? At the end of the day, he's a man. I mean, that's really cruel. I mean, she used to say this dialogue multiple times. And I used to just sit in my room thinking, damn, can a guy go without voting someone else? Like just being so lost of energy throughout a day. Spoiler alert, yes, he can do it, and I've done it for fucking 683 days in a row. And at the same time, 230 days or so in this year. Actually more than that now, because the video script is accounted till August mid, and now it's like September mid. So you got it right. Anyways, the system will come for you, don't worry. The system will save you from this shit. So by now 2018-19 comes, the biggest change in my life was going to the gym, regularly hitting the gym. I knew I looked ugly, right? I knew I was fat and I got a bit fit. I added some muscle mass, and this gave me a lot of motivation, right? A few months down the line, the lockdown also struck. So that was another story, but that was the pinnacle of, self-improvement. I'd gotten fitter pre-COVID in the 12th grade. I noticed I was getting some attention from girls subtly, like a random girl would just talk to me at college, and that serendipity would even build further, right? I even ended up in a conversation with a girl who I had a crush on in college. I'm talking 11th, 12th grade actually, because, I'd become a bit fit. So the problem was I was so scared to talk to that girl because, first, of course I like her. Second, I have no experience. And the third, the main thing is I fucking fap to that girl. I've thought about mental images, and it felt so weird, right? So down the line I just couldn't do much with, conversations. As by now, every woman was looking like a sex object. And I knew I had to solve this. So by the lockdown, I had this realization, and I remember I was watching the entire Dragon Ball, Kid Goku. It was the start of anime, like for me. And in 2020, I was watching Dragon Ball, and I started with Death Note in 2020. It's been fucking 4 years now. But anyways, I downloaded the entire Dragon Ball Z arc. It was COVID, and I said, what, if internet gets shut, I still have this on my hard drive, and I plugged it into my TV. And that's a lot of motivational stuff, right? Like Goku's one of the strongest kids out there. And even when the gym's shut, like I was hearing those things, those mindsets, working out at home with my dumbbells, and hearing this conquer motivation from Arnold. I mean, it was not Arnold, it was multiple people. So, of course, there was Mark Sani as well, this guy. I really thank him for being my inspiration back in the day. Like I watched his video, and there was no going back from there. So honestly, going from fat to fit is the best thing you can experience in terms of transformation. It's literally a true transformation. So if you're a fat person, remember you're already a step ahead because you have a really easy way, a tough, easy way to experience transformation. It's by just dropping the excess layer of fat on your skin, and it's going to boost your confidence. But anyways, coming on to experiment 1. So I made a decision to step by step get out of this shit habit that, firstly, now I got rid of those crazy, stupid, friends, quote unquote, thanks to the lockdown. I had my knowing of what was right and wrong. So, plan A, I started trying not to touch myself, but sustain via watching porn, okay? Now, my god, that was so hard. So, I did it for a few days. Probably on the 16th day, I gave up, or maybe even faster, maybe 2 weeks. Because, imagine, bro, you're just flooding your mind with something so negative processful that will lead to that because it's made in that. So I came to plan B then. I reversed the process, right? I said it's not working this way, so I said I'll never watch porn again, but I'll stick to the process of touching myself or fapping, which reduced perversion significantly, of course, right? This is just the beginning. It's a small hack, and it helped me a lot because just imagine, right? You're reducing this disastrous consumption of objectifying women and looking at it like you're looking at two people have sex, which is nowhere close to the real deal. And worst case, you're watching shit like gangbangs and rapes and shit that's on that website, and I truly hate, and I want that to be freaking banned. But yeah, I stopped watching that. I stopped consuming that. So when you stop consuming the shit data, it's not going to be processed here, right? Of course, there's a huge pile of 5-6 years from childhood, but there's no new stuff in there. There's no new, shit entering your system that will lead to outcomes that are in that favor. Because they're making it that way. It's a business at the end of the day. Tell this vegan, they're gonna make it as perverted as they can to hook you and freaking even make you pay for it. Thankfully, I never paid for it. So yeah, plan B worked for me. I was able to stick with the process of touching myself, thinking about people, but not watching people. Which is a small hack, but it's not the final outcome. So the serendipity one, right? The luck that clicked for me is that through the lockdown, I even stumbled across Vishen Lakhiani, okay, this guy, and Mind Valley, his company, who taught meditation, like the Silva method, and really good philosophy overall. He kept raising, those guys kept raising my awareness. By doing this, I used to lie down and meditate at the time. I used to not sit down now I sit, but imagine, bro, 4 years back, I started by freaking lying down and meditating, lying down on the bed and just trying to meditate. But it's fine, right? Even if you want to lie down, you want to stand, you want to walk, just remember life is a step-by-step process. It doesn't have to be you're sitting in the most difficult asana on the first day. Of course, now that I've meditated for more than almost 700 days, back to back, twice a day. I do this 1 hour process actually 35 minutes. It's called Shambhavi Mahamudra, and it has an asana involved. You're sitting with your back straight and your legs folded in a certain way stuff. So if you go from lying down to here, so just follow small steps, right? The same way starting to stop watching pornography, but sticking to fapping is a step towards the next step, that is probably 2-3 years down the line of NoFap for 683 days, which is also not the solution. You need a system. But regardless, right, you just need one small step that leads to the next big step. So 2021 struck. I was 18 years old now, and I had engineering college online, thankfully, but I acquired one of my biggest interests, right? Trading the stock markets. What else? Which literally helped me grow on all levels. I urge all of you, please, find a freaking obsession, right? Find one obsession, it will sort out all your problems, especially the financial obsession that I need to make cash. So experimenting NoFap, that time again, I was continuously experimenting because I wanted to try to get out of the habit. I would just relapse, right? But so one of these experimentations through my 18-year-old self, I came across this one day. So I consciously knew that the urge was kicking in, and like on day 16 or so again, I'm just guessing, but I love to say day 16 because normally for me it was 2 weeks, so it's really hard. But here's the tip of the iceberg, okay? And the base of my system was explored. It's not the system, but the base of it. So the night I locked my door and I just opened YouTube. I searched the words sexual binaural beats, as I was big on binaural beats back in the day, meditating to different frequency binaural beats. Then I let my body do whatever it wanted to do without touching myself or fapping or thinking about anything. I experienced the urge to produce pelvic motion, right? Then I grinded in that motion. That's actually how sex happens, and I dry humped a pillow. I did it with no thought, no touch, no porn, which I left in the lockdown, and boom, Eureka struck. This is it. As it felt way better and it had so much depth. So I could go on for a few minutes, like doing it on a pillow. Of course, it sounds really shit novel, but it's much better than fapping. I'll tell you why. Because this had depth, bro. I could go, at the first instance, I could go for 5 minutes. No one can fap for 5 minutes. Because you're ultra stimulating yourself. That's not the way sex happens, right? And it was easier to stop also. If you're doing the process of pelvic motion, it's easier to stop, take a breather, and get back into the process and you'll be able to create much more distance from the perversion, right? Just release your urges without perverting the process, because that's actually the way the process is done. And mind you that your biology has to be expressed. You have a biology, you need to express it. But the problem is, this is nowhere near the solution. This is a long way from clarity, right? That I achieved this year compared to 2021, that I found this system that is a part of it, that's the base of it. But that day onwards, after doing this process of pelvic motion over a pillow, we just call it dry humping a pillow, it became really simple for me, right? I could create a distance from myself, or a distance of myself from self-pleasure. Easily, do it for days and days. Instead of fapping every single day, I could create a gap to do a pillow hump once in 3 days, or take it further to 7 days, or take it further to even a week or two, 2 weeks. But the problem is I still found a way to pervert it by bringing images in my head of whoever I saw and whoever I wanted to do, and dirty ways of doing it to them, thanks to the 5 to 6 years of all the daily pornography I watched back in the day as a kid. It was now playing out, destroying this process as well. So yeah, this is totally not a solution, my friends. It's just a hack again, because I could create distance, right? The act of not touching myself helps a ton, because your genital is literally, as a man especially, it's really sensitive. It's not like a woman's genital. A woman's genital takes a lot of stimulation to get it going. But a man's genital, you can do it in 15 seconds, in 10 seconds. If you want, you just go really hard with your hands and poof, you'll orgasm. So the thing with the pelvic motion process is that you strive to orgasm, right? I mean, it will take a process, it will take time to do it. But with your hands or fapping, you're just gonna go at as hard as you want and just get it out of your system, right? So pelvic motion has a layer of depth, and you can go on for more longer, as it's just nature's method, right? How man has sex. So focus on natural ways, which is not a solution. Again, I'm just kind of telling you, it's just a stepping stone. So wait, but it still it cannot be considered as NoFap, right? As you are in some way pleasing your genital. You're still not into the semen retention gang. because you're not going to be able to navigate it without a system. So coming on to the power of sex transmutation, okay? And this is where I achieved 683 days of NoFap. Long way we've come down, and year hits 2022. The 19-year-old lady. I was still continuing the dry hump with perverted thoughts as it helped me create distance, as I could consciously move away for a few days from doing it from daily to doing it every 3 days or 7 days. And I really felt good. I was like, I'm making progress. So I still had my trading interest. I was doing markets. I started blogging on YouTube, and I had the huge desire to drop out of college as I hated it. I wanted to be a dropout, and I wanted to do something on my own, which I currently do. And you can watch the videos on my channel around the $3,000 a month step-by-step process if you're interested later, not now. Because first we need to learn the desexualization process. I think that's the base of everything. So the big date was March 27th, 2022. That night, it was my friend's birthday. And he invited me to a club with a bunch of his friends. And there was this entire setup. We all went to the hotel on the top, and then below the hotel there was this club. And there was this one girl. So when we went to the club, she dressed up really hot and revealing her boobs. I mean, almost. But yeah, she looked really hot. And in the club, we were drinking a lot. Okay, we were drinking a lot, having a lot of fun. But the girl was quite close to me. And slowly we were ultra close, and I was holding her. I was literally holding her, and I legit had a boner. And that will happen to me, right? While she was leaning on me, hugging me, and I felt her real deep. I could feel her boobs, I could feel her ass. I felt it real good. She didn't care, and she's probably enjoying the company, right? Because I met her recently, and we're still good friends. But at the time, I treated her human, okay? I was not literally going mad. I was treating her human, hugging her genuinely, dancing with her, just embracing her, but the base of perversion existed. I did not kiss her and stuff. I stayed far from it. I think there was also a time she tried to, but no, I was just feeling her sexually, right? Because it's the body, it's the drinks also kicking in. It hit me later, right? I just went inside and I was like, this is not feeling right? I felt wrong after being the ultra meditation guy and the stoic mindset and discipline trading and stuff. I wasn't able to control myself. I felt like an animal over here. So I stepped aside for a while, and then the scene ended. I got home. The drinks were hitting too hard, and that ultra loud music, it was like a trance, a painful trance in my head. That I was laying on my bed and I was unable to process anything because I couldn't even sleep easily because the girl, the drinks, the music, that was too loud, and I was dancing like an extra idiot, right? I was the extra dance, just to impress someone or I don't know, man, that's too much. So it was too intense and extra. But the next day I wrote in my journal. So the reason for the experience of uncontrollable sexual behavior was number 1, the past perversion via porn and fapping, and number 2 was consuming alcohol. So alcohol literally makes you an animal. Okay, it's research to show you that you become a sexual beast. Even if you look at the recent rape case, that's why I'm making this video, to be honest, that rapist was sloshed, and we see the pain and misery he's caused when other human being their sexual violence. Further, I told myself I want to be a profitable trader and run a successful business, which I now am and now do flex. But back then I said I got to at least rise over the basic stupid habit of ejaculation and perversion. And that day I stopped drinking alcohol totally. I started to learn to party without it. I consciously made this decision because I used to write in my journal now I'm not gonna drink, but I'm gonna be I'm gonna be the star of the party. I'm gonna be the main guy at the party. Because alcohol for me I used to never drink too much. It was just a means to lay loose at a party where I wanted to show my true colors. But then the truth about it is you already have it all in your hand. So leave that and focus on how can you get it out of yourself without that. And it totally makes sense. I hope you experience that. It's a really wonderful process. So I was an introvert, right? So I just made that process to drink to kind of first have that social narrative, oh fuck, this guy's drinking too hard. And then the internal process, when I drink, I can just dance and vibe and blah blah blah. But honestly, it made me sick on the physical level. I used to hate it. So I made a plan from there for 21 days. Drinking I just left because I never was addicted to it, but for fapping I made a 21 days plan. And I can even show you my journals, right? I have so many journals by now, but I can show you my journal snippets for authenticity. I literally wrote this shit. I know stuff can be faked on the, physical realm, but it's tough to fake all of these journals, right? I understand, but anyways, I myself am truly a skeptic, so I understand the skeptics out there, but yeah, this is what I definitely truly wrote in my journal. I'm gonna go for 21 days, but yeah, if you don't believe it, you don't believe it. But regardless, by the end of the video, you'll have enough data, bro. You'll have a system to practice with and transform your life over the next 1 or 2 months. So the plan worked. I was able to be dry for like 21 days, and that led to the 683 days of no self-pleasure. But this was not the end. There were problems. There were a lot of problems. Whenever I came across people with huge NoFap streaks on YouTube, I was always skeptical about the guys who never spoke about nocturnal emissions or Nightfall. Basically, your body dropping semen while you sleep, as it used to happen once in a while during the streak back in the day. Like, I was just dreaming about girls. I mean, I barely paid attention to all those things as I was so focused on trading and getting sources of income. And to have that autonomy and confidence to drop out of college, regardless what my parents or people said. And I mean, you have to do it if you want to be, right? The largest chunk of the population is in this unconscious state. They are shallow, narrow-minded, without depth. Maybe they have some fun, but the ultimatum is go to school, get a job, do a degree, work for 30 to 50 years in that job, invest in the stock market, trade with this god, and then retire with some money. That may be enough, to sustain your healthcare and stuff like when you're retired. Getting back to the point, so that was a good line. But getting back to the point, right? The body does have. Okay, I was focused on my things, so it was automatically transmuting that way. But my body and mind was so perverted to the extent that after all these years of mockery, that I used to get sexual dreams. And in the middle of the night at 3 a.m., I would find myself wet. And I used to know, right? I've seen this dream now. Of course, there were many months where I did not think about those sexual thoughts, even at night. But after a point, it was tough. Like by May 2023, I got so sensitive. Even if I was watching, I'd open Instagram and there was a bikini picture of a girl. Or I would hear something sexual, like on a movie or something, it would make me attracted, right? Because if I didn't pull myself away, I would get consumed into it and my mind would think in a certain way and the body would just drop. So NoFap honestly didn't work that great, but of course it did work. But at times, so it's all about detaching to that extent wherein you're totally out of it, which is not that easy if you want to play the game of life. So we need a system when you're playing the game of life, that the way I do it now. But it was still progress as I completely left the act, right? I used to not even think about sexual pleasure or self-pleasure, but I knew the day would come. I knew someday this would hit me back, and it did hit me back. But what helped was the Sanatan Dharma, right? So back in the day, I rooted myself into the Sanatan Dharma. I mean, I'm a Christian by birth, Catholic, but I rooted myself into Sanatan Dharma by 2022, mid, starting with reading the Bhagavad Gita daily, watching Mahabharata, doing Bhakti of Sri Krishna, eating simple vegetarian food, small portions and stuff. That may help in some way, but I dropped that sooner or later. As a bad doctor talked me out of it. But I still have a 90% vegetarian diet, and I sometimes have seafood, not even chicken, as I'm cycling through it. I mean, I get that also off, but I'm trying to build my body, so sometimes I do it, but I think it's totally honest. So I'll get it off. But yeah, mid 22, I picked my way to get a drop year at engineering college. So anyways, I'm going back from there. In the social narrative, it was just going back to college after a year. I just tricked my way. I mean, that's for another video, right? But yeah, I knew I'm not going back. I'm going to build myself. So I got a coding job from the network I built in the lockdown. So I was doing these online coding courses from the lockdown, and I got a job, and I was making 15,000 a month. I did it for 3 months. Then I used that money and I went into Shambhuti Mahamudra. That's a yogic process I did in November 2022. That's what I still do today. And I saw a lot of progress in trading and life overall. Right? It was an actual turning point. But being honest, this is November, right? And my NoFap started in March. So I mean, you can do it without that also. So end of the year, I started learning video editing. So this is a really important part about sexual transmutation. I went to the sport. I used to record myself, I used to document myself. Then I got an editing client and I scaled my client work I started with 10 or 20k a month, 10 to 15k a month. It depends on volumes. I was doing shorts for a client. And so yeah, I took it up to 50k a month from Jan to March, in just 3 months. with more clients, right? Which was so good back in the day, and I was feeling so good. I was doing my Shambhavi daily, my yoga practice. I was going for satsangs, and volunteering in that community of the Sanatan Dharma in a way, which helped a lot, right? It's recoding your mind. So I did not have Nightfall for multiple hundreds of days. And even when a dream came, I had experienced this, like I could have that control in my dream. You say, no, I'm not going to do this, but it's too much of brute force to get control in your dream. Like now if I get a dream, I don't think I'd be able to sustain it. Like, I mean, I did get a dream a few months back, but right now it's like the system even allows you to like sort of hack your way through getting nocturnal emissions. I could legit see myself doing something back in the day on the financial plane in my own way with autonomy, like mid 2023 now that I had my 3 clients making 50,000 rupees a month. I basically created an environment of progress compared to the environment of regress. In the past, like when you go to college, you surround yourself with extremely lustful people who just normalize perversion, consume only pornographic content, and my crowd was social. They used to even watch it in the classroom. So that was reinforcing, right, for masturbation and fapping, and just being a human who's susceptible to daily dopamine hits and screwing up, frying your dopamine system in a way. So I now had the complete opposite manifested, right? When I had taken a drop here, I built a small sort of business, and that happened because I just fucked up at an early age, right? So it's okay to fuck up at an early age, but that makes you be more receptive to the truth, and you build that serendipity for the truth to manifest in life. That's what I did. Because I knew, I've done all this crap as I said, and now I need to change, and just doing crap. So it's fine to fuck up, but be open to change. Then most of 2023 was NoFap, and I basically felt the urges drop as I was so into my work at that point. I dropped out of college successfully and kept pursuing trading and the editing as an agency. I mean, you can see this beast here, right? And 130,000 or 1.3 lakh PC from just editing profit. Of course, I was trading as well. I do make trading profit as well now. So, I mean, right now, even I run it in the form of an agency, and I make a few $1,000s on the internet thanks to the internet. And I clearly dropped out of college now, but so yeah, I have employees and stuff. Not many, it's like 2-3, and I keep going on the stream when there's more projects, like contractors and stuff. So I was happy, right, back in the day, and even now I'm really happy without the shit dopamine life that was there initially, but now it's all under control. I used to consume content from people like Iman Ghazi, Danko, and many such creators while getting new clients to freelance with. And it was really fun in 2023, right? So, but I honestly got fed up of client work because, at that point I was just doing it myself. But anyways, coming back to the story, through October, November, December now, I don't call this a relapse, but back then I did get really annoyed, as there were these 3 to 5 days in those 3 months overall, when I came across this meditation where you place your hand on your genitals. I mean, you don't fap, but you place your hands and you just visualize energy passing onto your body and you ejaculate. So, I mean, I consider it NoFap now. Initially I did, but now I don't, because, I mean, it was a process, but I knew it was getting me perverted because I just kept wanting to do the meditation, and it led to wet dreams as well on those occasions. Like the nights beyond those dreams, I used to get nocturnal emissions. So I knew I was just fooling myself by the meditation. Maybe someone could use it, but I feel you should not touch it. Even when you're visualizing energies and stuff, I don't think YouTube is enough easy to manage you to do that. So maybe if you're receptive to it, maybe you can do it. But for me, regardless, I moved over it, right? I just left it after those 3 months, and I continued my streak until I killed it on the 8th of Feb 2024. So getting back to the story, in 2023 December, I closed my first foreign client, and I started to make 1 lakh rupees a month with that client, and I was really enjoying all the aspects of life. And but by 2024 Feb, I got really bored, right? I mean, I wasn't doing good in trading also that month in Feb, and then there was the burden of client growth, making clients get views, then getting new clients, and I was doing it most of it on my own. I just had like 1 employee. So there the true relapse happened, right? So the relapse. It was the 8th of Feb 2024. I was going through a really bad evening. I couldn't focus. So I mindlessly just started watching anime. Bleach was the anime I was watching. That week I watched like 50-60 episodes in just that week. Over a week, and like I watched like 10 episodes in that evening, which was really annoying. Like I couldn't even process it, man. Fuck. But then I was just questioning my unconventional path. I'm like, fuck, can I do this? Can I be a dropout? Can I sustain without a job? And it was getting to me back there. But then, you know what I did? I just closed the TV, came in my bedroom here, on my bed ahead, and it just happened. I mean, I didn't think about anything, but I just happened. I mean, I did think about some girl, but yeah, I just felt I didn't have any reasoning. I just went so hard in a few seconds. I was done. Just a few seconds, not even a minute. And I'm like, you know, this will make me feel good. Probably, certainly. And poof, the 683 days, March 27th to Feb 8th, over. I was shocked by the end. Like I was cold. I was like, fuck, what just happened? Right? I felt so bad. My self-image was dying by this point, and I was like, does this mean that all those 2 years have gone for waste? Right? The 683 days, were they fake? Right? But no, they weren't fake. Looking at it now from the zoomed out perspective. But when I was in it, when I just relapsed, I felt really bad. Like it feels too bad to relapse. But spoiler alert, don't feel bad. It's okay. And the system will allow you to consciously release. Only thing, you don't have to feel bad. So coming back to the crazy experience is there was another experience. So I went to a spa. Okay, I was making money by this point, right? So I thought like, let's just do a deep tissue massage, feel better. I was gymming also, guys. My body was feeling a bit pain. So on the 11th of Feb, I had like cash. I was doing this Angamardana thing also back then, I think. So maybe my body was spinning. So I went to a good spa. It had like a jacuzzi, and actually I researched on Google, right? I wanted a spa with a jacuzzi because that's normally the first time I'd gone to a spa with a jacuzzi I really liked. So yeah, there was only one, and I prepaid 7,000 rupees at the counter. Telling them I wanted deep tissue. They were overly selling me on that 7,000 thing. So I'm like, okay, and I paid for it. It was doing like a good spot. It's actually a good one. And being honest, there was no massage. I mean, the girl inside was literally trying to upsell me into having sex with her. Sort of sense, right? She told me such crazy things, and I was so shit scared. So something on those lines, right? Like, I don't know, body over body or something. So I got shit scared. I even contemplated like giving in. I'm like, fuck, you know what? Anyways, my body is not sustained. I broke my streak. Let's just let her do what she wants. But then the eureka happened, right? Like she literally, I asked her, what is this about? So she literally touched my genital for a second, and I fucking got scared. I just moved aside. So like I didn't move that much. She removed her hand ASAP because she knew I was scared. And by that point I was shivering. I was like literally shivering. Then all of a sudden my guru's face popped onto my head and like into my mind, and then the words kicked in, right? Something like this. There was only people who are miserable fall to pleasure. Those who are already blissful don't. And then, you know, I just realized like, fuck, I'm doing everything I love in my life. I have a business. I don't have to go to college. My family is kind of proud of me. I don't have to do this. And I kept my stance firm. I told the lady, no ways am I going to do this. And I told her, you just give me a massage, because of course I paid 7,000 rupees. I could have ran out, but then I mean, that would have made too much of a scene. But yeah, I mean, there's also this sort of moment where they give you a scrub. So a wet scrub, so you need to even remove your underwear, and that's sort of unfair, but I was so scared. I mean, now if I was in that space, I would be like, no, I don't want to remove my underwear, but yeah, there I had to be like, instead of arguing, I just listened to her. I removed it at once, then I let her do what she was doing, and then she again, like now that I was totally naked, she's like, bro, come on, do it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this shit. No way am I doing it. And this literally represents the negative serendipity, right? Now that I broke my entire NoFap streak, God or the universe was testing me, right? I felt like it was a test. But I knew I was pretty obvious, like I'm not going to fall for this shit. And I did. And I caught myself constantly rejecting that woman. And I got home and I told my family about it. It ended up becoming a joke more than anything. My sister told me once that, you know, we can do a police case because it was molestation. But I just let it slip. And it could just turn on me somehow. My father told me, you know, I'm a guy, so it can just turn on me somehow. And, you know, they can post videos to focus if they have it. I'm like, okay, let them do that, but yeah, I just left it for them, right? But anyway, looking back, the massage lady was kind of shocked. Like, she was like, fuck, this guy is so disciplined. And she was even telling me, like, you don't know the kind of guys who come here, and, you know, you're so different, you're so stoic. And she's kind of trying to, again, you know, kind of pump me to, you know, get me to go do that thing for her. But looking back, I think she just wanted to, you know, sell me something, make cash. She wanted to just make cash. I told her, no, I'm not doing this. I'm just focused on my work and I'm not going to do this. So I kind of I have empathy that, okay, they're trying to make cash, but you don't understand by the way you're trying to make cash, you're destroying it for a lot of other women, right? You're perverting an entire sexual process in probably millions of people that visit that spa. So, again, I have empathy for the lady, but I think it's totally wrong to sell something like this. It's shit. But coming back, then from that day, I couldn't cycle even past a 7-day gap, right? I fapped the day later on the 12th of Feb. I even have a video because I keep documenting myself. So I got huge imposter syndrome, right?
Today is the 12th of Feb 2024. I again relapsed. I'm having a lot of relapses in the last few days, this month especially. And I knew this had to come. It was coming because, my mind didn't allow for it.
Thinking that whatever happened in my NoFap streak was a fake and I can't sustain it anymore and it won't happen again. But the problem is I was missing on something. But regardless, I keep documenting my life, so I want to build a personal brand and stuff. So in that video, you can see that there's a lot of distrust and fear and confusion on my face. Then the next report to Relapse was 9th March and then 13th March. So 13th March, I think, was honestly from 13th March I got a new streak. So on the 16th, I did this sort of process where I just came in my bedroom and I didn't fap or anything. I was kind of just, going in my head and visualizing all the things I saw. I don't know if this helped, but I was just trying new things. I'm like, I gotta get this out of my system. I can't become so regular after being so, stoic and, what can I say? Brahmacharya. So I locked myself in a room. I tried going through the memories as a child and I just visualized myself locking it at a back. Because you honestly cannot sort of forget anything. That's the way of the mind. There's no minus or divide. There's only plus and multiply. What you can do is remove the energy from something and put it into something else, right? That's the only thing you can do.
Quick note is that, with the rise in the creator economy and novel concepts coming to light, like men's biology or dating coaches or whatever you want to see in the world, articulation is a skill. Presentation is a skill. So if you're liking what you see right now with the men's bio edit, there's a lot of things that go at the back. Of course, the entire storyline is one thing. It's an experience. But it took me an entire 2 months to put this entire piece together with the right scripting, with the right videography, with the right sound design, with the right editing, visuals. Everything has teams and everything takes focus and investment. And you may have some concepts for yourself. You may not know the value within you, but you may be a serious person. You may be making money. And the truth is, if you want to work with me, you can go down to the description, fill the form. There's another questionnaire. So you'll see 2 questionnaires down there. One is for the men's bio catalyzer and one is for the content business. If you want to join hands with me, if you want to create something similar, go ahead and I'm ready to help you right off the block. Only thing, it's going to be a paid thing. So make sure you're really serious about it and you got some cash to invest into this.
So I was trying to do that, but it just didn't work, right? So those things were playing in my head and maybe it worked, maybe it helped, I don't know. But then the main thing was, the weekly cycles were getting so tough. So from the March of 13th to the 3rd of April, I said, let me plan this NoFap streak. That is, I think, around 21 days or so, I'm not sure. But yeah, because I booked Spandana on a spiritual program that I did. It's an experience. You need to go to Coimbatore. I live in Mumbai. So I had to leave on the 29th of March and I did this streak though, but I ended up fapping on the 28th and 29th. So it's a good cycle extension. I was able to go for almost 2 weeks, actually 2 weeks, and I was only 1 week away from the 21-day psychological level. That is 3 weeks. But yeah, I couldn't come to 3 weeks, but yeah, I did it for 2 weeks. And then I went to Spandana and then on 9th April, I came back on the 3rd or 4th, and then on 9th April, I again relapsed. And this is a very shallow way to release it, right? I just fapped. Through all of this, I was just fapping with my hand, touching myself and feeling myself with my hands. And it truly doesn't give you a release, right? I didn't notice this yet because I knew about my dry humps, but at that point, demonized it, right? After going into the 683 days of NoFap, I was like, fuck, that's such a bad habit. But yeah, then on 22nd April, I again 2 weeks gap, I ended up again fapping. And I was just thinking of thoughts. Then on the 28th, so this is like just 6 days apart, the 28th of April, I again fap, but this time I even opened porn and I watched porn. I'm like, fuck, I'm not getting this to get over. And I watched porn. Like almost after half a decade, right? 4 years, I watched porn after leaving it in the lockdown. So I was really angry, but one good thing in now that May had come was through all of this, I was investing well in my editing business, and so I had a leads guy and like a web designer, and I was giving more work to my editor back in that time. So I was able to make more money, kind of that. So it felt good. But anyways, right on the 8th of May, I again fapped to porn, and that got me a lot. But I made a plan. I was not going to give up. So I planned on getting initiated to Shambhavi Mahamudra again. Right? The process I did in November 22. So it has like 25 to 30 hours of discourse with my guru, and I went through it in May, and then like I did in 22 November, which was a major turning point. Again, like that time was turning point, even this time was turning point. So initiation, like there's this process of initiation and discourse. So discourse is where you're watching video of like full focus. It's like 1 to 3 hours of video, and you're literally priming your mind for the process. And then in June I got the process. So May was entirely watching the videos. In June I got the process. So in this entire moment of May, right, I wrote in my journal, and I planned that, from the 8th of May till the 29th of May, I will, devote to this 21-day cycle, as 21 days is a psychological level. And I even wrote it like 10 times in my journal. I think I'm going to not do it, and I'm going to hold myself. And I started consuming good content, reading books that I used to read back in the day, like psycho-cybernetics and stuff. Then luck hit in my business. I scaled up to $3,000 a month. I got 2 new big foreign clients, right? And they're really good with me. So cash normally makes me feel good. That's why I say, always have an obsession in the financial game, and even trading is going good now. So it really validates. And as this quote goes, when it rains, it pours. So if you're doing good in one aspect of your life, like suppose trading or business or just money in one term, that will reflect onto your relationships, into your health, into your wealth. Because when it rains, it pours. So I accomplished my 21 days challenge. I felt really good on that 29th of May, and then I even I came to my journal on the 31st of May, and I consciously planned what's next, as there needs to be a path. Without a philosophy, I won't be able to sustain this. I mean, I came to a conclusion that I need a partner. The solution was not actually to have a partner, because not everyone can have a partner, right? Not everyone is ready to have a partner. Some people are teenagers, and I think the self-pleasure process is important, but the way you do it needs to be improved on with the system. So I accomplished my 30 days on the 7th of June. I mean, I was supposed to do 21, but I did 30 days of NoFap on the 7th of June. And I wrote in my journal and came to the conclusion that now it's time to do a conscious release. But to my point, now for the cushion drivers, right? The pillow humping, the pelvic motion. I stopped feeling angry, but dove into research also, and said that May 9th to June 7th was successful. It was successful. But the body had a conscious release on the 7th of June. The negative part throughout this entire, relapse phase was that I was getting angry every time I fapped. Rather, you look at it as data, and when the cycles are getting tough to sustain and, how to push it further, you keep your mind cool, and then it's easier to plan for an escape. Like, you can plan literally anything. You can escape anything when you keep your mind cool. So through May 24, neuroengineering happened, the discourse happened, and then Shambhavi happened. It became more deeper for me. I built a philosophy here, right? This is where the game changed from me. The thesis goes like this. The human body certainly has needs, but masturbating every single day and week along porn is not a solution to this. It's rather getting you more addicted and perverted. Okay? So it's not just porn, also fapping to like random thoughts and women you see, but the conscious release where we imitate sex. We are dry humping a cushion or just doing pelvic motion if you do it really hard without even object. You can do it in a controlled environment with the right rules and discipline. The process remains pure and helps the body recover from years of perversion like we've been fed into by creating this. Now, when you create these cycles of abstinence, you get eased from the years and years of perversion you fitted into your system. When you do the process actually in the way it's intended to be, that's all body and your mind. So coming back to the later cycles, June 7th to July 9th, I again successfully did not ejaculate, this time for 32 days. So that's more than the last cycle. In the last cycle we did at 30 days, this cycle I did 32 days. I did have one nocturnal emission in between, and there was just one night and around July 9th, but this will be around nocturnal emissions also, which we'll come to. But I wrote in my journal saying, like now I'm going to do a conscious release, and you'll feel your body give these urges, right? You'll feel the tension rise. So you want to avoid that unconscious release that happens in the night, and do a conscious release with your body that is totally detached from your mind, and over a pillow or maybe even just pure pelvic motion. It just works, right? If you keep doing it for like a few minutes, you'll get to it. You'll get to that orgasm, or maybe even if you just want the energy expressed, that's fine. But yeah, I orgasm always, and with the pelvic motion method, the conscious release is what we call it now. But I call it, perhaps you can also call it. But the difference is it gets really easier to control the tension, right? When you do the conscious release. Like while I study the cycle and I have depth with every release, like I literally have a diagram. So like you know that okay, now I don't need to do it, now I need to do it. That builds a lot of structure. So I planned a new cycle from the 9th of July to August of 20th that would come up to 42 days. And I did this with thinking that this is a mandala. In yoga, it's a mandala. Also, like my system is always to do more abstinence than the last time. So first I did 30 days, then I did 32 days, and now for the next plan is to do 42 days. That's something more. And I ended up going beyond 42 days. I ended up doing 46 days of NoFap this time till the August of 24th. And then I just planned, right? I'm going to do the conscious release, because on that day exactly was when I was scripting this entire video, and on the night, like I was systemizing my process for everyone to, reap the benefit from, because by then, after I did like 46 days, and if you combine all the cycles, right, 46, 32, 30, it comes up to around 108 days, like just from research.
So if you're really getting some value from this video and you really want something more firsthand that can catalyze your experience with men's bio, the concept, or a better first-hand system where you could sit with someone and build that accountability for yourself, because I'll be honest with you, man, the video is good. I put everything into it so that it can be used for information, like to liberate a lot of the issues that you've created for yourself, society has created for you. But there's a chance that some of you may not be able to get the value you want out of it. So I've created another mode, another first-hand experience that you can subscribe to. That is my personal sort of catalyzer. That's what a catalyst is, right? It speeds up a process. Now, of course, the video in itself is more than enough, but if you're looking for something more and you're really serious about it, you can pay for it. You can go down to the link in the description. There's a questionnaire down there. I want you to fill that. And with the rise in perversion in today's day and age, the things man does is getting out of hand. And if you're in that, sort of category of person, and I don't know how far it must have gone for you, right? If you're a veteran of perversion, it should work. But if it doesn't work, you'll have to work around something. And that workaround you can make for yourself, or you can have someone like me work with you. And there you go, link in the description.
I was like, wow, if anyone is doing it on a daily basis, even if they can come down to, have 100 days of NoFap with just a few releases here and then, it will be really helpful for them. Why? Because they're going to hold that energy via their body and transmute it into different aspects of their life. So on the August 23rd, while scripting this video, I did get Nightfall as I was writing, and I was going through my own stories, and that sexual tension kind of builds up when you're going that into something. So that's why I say, stop using your mind too much in those realms, otherwise your mind will trigger something, right? You think about an old trigger when you used to fap as a kid, and you want to fap now. Like even when I did it, when I relapsed a few months back, and one of the relapses, I was just hearing a song that used to have like a really hot music video with birds and stuff as a kid, and I used to fap to that music video, and I was just hearing that song when I was going through my relapse phase, and I literally fap to that. So you need to avoid triggers. But yeah, I was doing this for you guys, the scripting, so I had to go through the triggers. But regardless, I did not, for the 46 days, throughout it, I did not get Nightfall. It was just the last night when, the tension built while scripting, so it's fine. But yeah, what So you can literally call that like pure brahmacharya, because I literally did not drop any semen. And so how did I control those urges, right? I mean, you'll honestly feel the tension rise, right? When you're doing NoFap or when you're kind of in semen retention, you will feel that, the tension is created. But then for me, I was focusing on my business, focusing on trading, diverting my attention to bigger projects like a $900 long form video edit that I did a month back. And then there's also meditation that I'm doing really deeply, my yogic process. I've done like more than 1300 practices by now. I'm doing it for 2 years. Almost like November now will be 2 years with every day twice back to back. So that really helps with the energy transmutation, right? So what I do is when I do my yoga process and I feel the tension, the sexual tension, I kind of feel the energies rise and I can direct it to any part, right? So I just visualize during my meditation, like it's like energy is rising from the lower parts of my body to the higher parts of the body, and that's what yoga is about also, right? You're rising the energies from your lower part to the higher parts of your body. So that helped a lot, and only on this day I didn't do it right when I was scripting, because I did my second yoga process like early in the evening. So by the time it was night, I wouldn't do a third practice because I normally just do two. And so I finished my second practice already. So I was mostly writing and distilling this video, this system for you guys. But yeah, 46 days of abstinence is still insane, that too without Nightfall. So as to 683 days of NoFap in 2022-24, I did have nocturnal emissions, right? As the tension was built and there was no systematic way to release that tension, to get an expression, like I'm following now. So I'm grateful for relapsing at the start of this year, only to distill this knowledge and come to a much better understanding that can help a lot of people, as it did myself. So another big distraction is this streak, right? Like I was obsessed with the 1 year streak or the 2 year streak. Like I've been dry for a year or I've not touched myself for 2 years. But there's a problem with this is that you will get into nocturnal emission, or there's a fear that, fuck, I was just so aware of touching myself. There's always that fear. But yeah, of course, at a point you get really stoic in your mind, you won't do it. But then it can always get back. So why to sort of be in that place, right? It kind of destroys your mental well-being when you will sort of relapse, and then you'll be like, oh god, I relapsed, my life is end, my self-image is destroyed. Then it's totally not required. In the modern era, regardless, people don't even have a goal of brahmacharya. They just want to reduce the amount they ejaculate drastically and the perversion that happens to the bottom. So here, if we look back, even though the streaks break every time on a day of conscious release, like say for example, on one of the streaks I had till the 24th of August, there were 46 days. But on the 46th day, I did go into for like maybe 15 to 20 minutes. And I've done the conscious release maybe 2 times in the day or 3 times in the day or even 4 times. If you separate it, you can do it. So it's okay to do that, right? And I have journals, I have dates, like I have released, and I like initial faps, like if I give you dates now, so the initial faps of Feb to May, when I relapsed till now, there were only 14 days, including the faps and the conscious releases, that I mentioned till the last cycle of August. Of course, I did it on 2 more days in August, and after that September I've been totally dry, like no Nightfall and stuff. But yeah, till August 24th, if you will calculate the number of days in the year till August 24th, it comes up to 237 days. Now, I told you I calculated 14 days of fapping and conscious release to the start of the year, even including the relapses. But let's assume 20 faps or 20 conscious releases, including the faps, just in case I missed a day or 2. But I'm sure I didn't miss anything because I'm the greatest documenter alive. So even if you take the number 20 days of fapping divided by 237 days, that's just 8%. The rest of the 92% of the year, I have still compounded on abstinence, and no one can take that away from me, right? And just like, even if you see 20 days, you're not actually sitting and fapping the entire of those 20 days. It's just maybe 1 hour of that 20 days. Like in those 20 days, just 1 hour of each day you're fapping. The rest of the 23 hours are, you're doing a creative process, you're doing something else. But then there's a way to do the conscious release, which we yet need to get to. So what if you conscious release multiple times in a day? I mean, it's not going to affect you, right? What if you do a conscious release multiple times on a planned day, a date, and a time in a really, really systemized manner, right? It has rules, and in the way I'm presenting, you'll still benefit from the compounding. So yeah, you can eventually lead yourself onto a streak. Like you've seen from my last cycle, even though 42 days were planned, I ended up doing 46 days, and that's like more than the last 22 days. So the next that I'm aiming for is 60 days. So August 24th to August 28th is when I again did a conscious release, because I want an entire month. Like I want September and October like to go back to back. So I just did 2 conscious releases in August, and they're up now. I'm meeting for like 17 days, 18 days. I don't know. Let's calculate August 28th to September, which is today. I don't know. September 13th, I guess. So yeah, whatever that is, like 15 to 18 days. So yeah, it's really easy now, but it's not even coming to my head. But yeah, I may get laid because I'm getting opened up to those aspects of life, and I've even said it in the script, right? Like I can expand this to a yearly cycle. If I keep progressing the cycles, I can go on for like 365 days or 700 days or even 1,000 or even brahmacharya if I want to, until I get like a sexual partner and I don't want to like just be holding the energy into everything else. Like, of course, I want to experience sex as well, which I haven't experienced because I'm so focused on other aspects of using sexual transmutation. But the key in this is to just detach from sex pleasure, right? From self pleasure. So even if you want to just use the system to not touch yourself while you're in a relationship, that's a really good step, right? Because I've seen so many the neurotic society, right? You have a husband and wife. The husband is thinking about another woman, the wife is thinking about another guy. This will help them. So the unconscious mind still will have a lot of data stored which will play out every now and then. So I just need to control myself, right? And replace the old way of things with new way of things. That's what was the entire philosophy. So that was all the context from my 1 decade journey so far, like starting from a 12-year-old kid till a 21-year-old man. But now I consider myself a master at these sexual cycles. So now we will actually solidify the philosophy behind the story and get to the system right now. If you just skipped to this part of the video, I highly recommend you watch the entire storyline, as it's the primer of the philosophy. The system is based on the philosophy, but I can agree, if you're really messed up and you just want to follow something, go ahead, watch it, make notes. But watch the entire thing, and there may be a chance you will not be able to digest the information you're getting right now, but it will really help in that case to watch the entire philosophy and practice it raw. Because if you go to the storyline, you'll see that I've given you exact first-hand experience of what has happened, as I am the greatest documenter of life, with the exact dates, the cycles, the journal entries, and how as a kid I got messed up. So it's a ton of primer to structure and to make your mind ready to accept the system ahead and build your mindset in favor of your vision to stop this happening. But again, if you want to go ahead, just go ahead, learn the system, no worries. So one thing is clear, porn and fapping, masturbation isn't helping. It's rather addicting you even further and perverting you. But then if not pornography, then what? I understand. Curious teenagers are going to start exploring their curiosity via porn. But the thing is, it's not the real deal. They've made it ultra perverted. So you're hooked onto their platform, and then fapping is like scrolling reels to consume content. Like you're literally scrolling reels when that's not even the right way to consume content. You consume content by reading a book or watching a long form YouTube video, or like literally sitting somewhere and listening to someone. But then when you're consuming reels, it's like you're just skipping people, and that's the same with fapping. It's not actually how sex is done. So you're actually roasting your dopamine system. And I don't have any problem with like these things that couples do. Like, that's their kinks. You can do it with your partner, but just don't do it with yourself, because you can easily pervert anything alone. So as a kid, again, I fapped 5, 6, 7 times a day, maybe even more. But the thing is, it gets so boring and painful to a point you don't even enjoy it, right? You're just coming in a minute, or even worse, it could be like 15 seconds, right? Perverting the image of a woman in your mind via porn, or just disgusting thoughts about that person. So my solution to this is, you need to understand the code, that it's already written into your body, right? You just need yourself in a private environment and understand how a man would actually have sex. That's via pelvic motion or humping, right? So I've noticed this, I've noticed with really zero thought, maybe just 10% thought, just focusing on the process and keeping really less thought. You just focus on the motion. You can use a cushion, and with your clothes on, you'll get a bit wet, so be ready to clean up later in the washroom. It's not that difficult. But yeah, take 5 to 10 minutes and do that on a pillow. Do the pelvic motion over a pillow and feel all the sensations. but don't think of anything. We can use 10% thought, but keep it 100% zero mind, just body, because that's how sex actually happens. Now, it can get still perverted. I'm telling you 100 times, this is not the solution. The solution is you. You are the solution. We need to understand there is no freaking golden treasure solution that I just tell you and you will understand. No, you have to create that integrity within yourself. And I will not use my thoughts or imagination or pornography and just rather make my own rules. So, like, example rules would be like, I won't think about any woman while doing this process. I won't overboard the process, just a few normal positions of pelvic motion to allow me for the process every once in a few days. I will have depth and go for at least 5 to 10 minutes. It may be tough in the start, but compared to your fap, like if you fap for 1 minute, we'll of course do 5 minutes of the conscious release. That's what I call it again. But so that's definitely longer, and you even be able to build depth because you can pause, right? When you're going at it, you can pause. You can think about the entire narrative of, I'm pausing now and I need the energy to come back. And if you're actually when you're really having sex, you can even build on foreplay and then get back to the process, right? So before the conscious release, what you need to do is you write in your journal, right? So this will also be before my conscious release, I will write the dates, I will write what I'm going to do in the journal, I will write my rules in the journal, and then at the end of the conscious release, I will write in the journal that, now I'm done with my conscious release, now I'm going to extend my cycle for the next 40-50 days, or depending on your level, maybe 7 days if you're on a lower level, if you're on a higher level, 60 days or 100 days or a year, I don't know, whatever you want to do, or even brahmacharya if you want to do it. You will certainly notice after doing this over the next few days, it's easier to keep a bigger gap than you normally would if you fapped or watched porn. Then cycle the way I told you, right? Here's an image of the cycles for people who skip through the entire storyline. You can see how the cycles progress from a few days to a larger number of days, and every new cycle has a larger gap. Of course, there are cycles in between that happen faster, but there's an entire reason for that, and it's all journaled and self-theorized within myself. Start small and expand to bigger periods of abstinence. You see my cycle, 3 days is the start, and then it goes about to 46 days of abstinence, and now I'm on the way to 60 days. Until I'm just saying, right? I may get laid, so abstinence may not happen if I get laid. So let's actually have sex with someone. I know this may sound too novel as no one does this, and fapping is just socially accepted by now. If you can do this, what's the problem with literally using your body the entire and the right way as it was meant to be done, right? So believe me, this is much better than fapping and porn. This will help you detach from the years of damage the old patterns have done to you, if done with the system of cycles and the mental process I have laid down over you. This has depth. A fapper will probably last 1 to 10 minutes with his partner, but a person who masters the conscious release via these cycles can build depth for hours of sex. That can be such a beautiful experience for both you and your partner. Of course, the first attempt of ejaculation will be like after abstinence, it will be quick, right? It will be in a few minutes. Of course, not seconds, but a few minutes. But the second attempt, you experience a lot of more depth. You experience yourself being able to edge for more longer, and it'll be more easier, and you can find yourself with more stamina, deepening the process. So that's pretty much the system. So the final section is the mindset. Focus on a good mindset. A human body does have sexual needs, remember that. But going on to fap for every day or week after quoting, that just doesn't do justice to you or anyone, right? Especially to your body, as you're ripping yourself off from such important energy while destroying the concept of a woman in your mental state. So imagine your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, or anyone close to you on certain levels. You'll realize that you would never want them to be exposed to the perversion that occurs on porn or on the depthless, perverted man's mind. So why do you want to do it? Express yourself, but do it as a researcher. If you're just a kid who stumbled across this and you may be stuck with porn for a few months or maybe with 1 or 2 years, it's really simple for you, right? You can just get out of it by tracking your cycles and doing the conscious release in a way, but extending it useful, right? And even look at a woman, right? The woman considers her menstrual cycles so in depth, like they have it all written. But the difference with a man and woman is a woman cannot control it. They can only journal it. A man can control his sexual cycles when he will release this energy. when he will not release this energy. Maybe he can never do it through life. Like look at the spiritual monks. They're not releasing their sexual energy, they're holding it and transmuting it. And that's what I'm telling the younger guys, right? Focus on sexual transmutation. Use the energy in building some projects like a business or content or just something at school or college, right? Even if you want to be like, even if you want to reserve that energy for like actual sex, and like even I had this philosophy as a kid that, you know, like not as a kid but as a teenager, that I need to stop fapping just so that, you know, I can I just want to have sex but I don't want to fap because it's not the actual truth, right? So if you're a veteran of perversion, this will work for you totally because it works. The only thing is you need to stop talking badly about a woman and her body. You need to talk with respect. There are guys who are such fucking perverts. They literally reduce a woman into a sex object in basic conversation. So I mean that's not gonna help, right? If you do that, that will take away depth from life. And imagine how will you openly interact with a woman on the right terms, right? On the human terms. You will just look at her as a sex object, and then when you're sitting alone in your room and your thoughts and your faps, that's what you're gonna do. And even if you're doing the conscious, even if you're doing a pillow hop and you're thinking about shit, you're gonna do shit. So it will not help you then. So you need to understand that you need a good mindset. You need to not pervert anything. You need to look at things the way they are. Because in the coming years, I believe women will be they will excel at navigating the modern era, where they increasingly will monetize their intellect and emotional intelligence. Where on the contrary, you'll have men who cling solely to overt masculinity. These guys may find themselves off their balance. So embrace your masculinity, but remember that the true strength lies in the yin-yang balance, the subtle feminine qualities, empathy, emotional depth, nurturing. These are crucial in today's world. As AI advances, raw masculinity will totally not be enough. I'm not advocating for men to lose their, identity or, go into these extremes. Instead, I'm just suggesting a more nuanced approach that incorporates the softer and more intuitive aspects of the feminine that women easily tap into than men. So my message is definitely treat women righteously and embrace the feminine qualities while being a straight man. Also, don't talk about sexuality as dirty or evil. I mean, I've seen some of the most open-minded people label the process and say like you're being dirty and stuff. I mean, okay, if you're doing it in fun with your partner or someone, like, oh, he's so dirty and stuff. But if you're doing it on the normal scale, you're stigmatizing it unconsciously. Like, you gotta realize that sexuality is the base of your reality, and without proper expression of the sexual process, depth will be lost. And man will no longer be able to have meaningful sex life, also affecting a woman's experience as they go hand in hand. They are each other's partners. Then there are extremes, like, what happens regularly in India or even other countries unrecorded, that's rape. So have a long-term mindset. If you miss extending the cycles once, like, it's no problem, right? Remember, this is all an iteration. Until you're getting better than yesterday, you're going good. Just keep striving with the vision you have for the future and you'll get there in due time. Now make it a point that this is all novel research and self-experimentation done over the last 4 or 5 years of my life. And I honestly feel I feel so much better for myself. There's more energy and life is much better being a normal man than a pervert. I'm more open to novel situations. I can, easily see the signals a girl gives me when, I'm out, and I can position myself creatively to just get intimate with a girl, or at least try to, rather than being a creep in the mental scape, while 99% of the times transmuting the energy to my goals, right, rather than fapping. So now to wrap this up, remember that the journey is of understanding yourself, right? Especially in the terms of sexuality and self-control. It's the path that requires discipline, patience, and willingness to break free from the societal norms that no longer serve us. So this isn't just about NoFap or finding, a new way to fap. It's about taking back control of your mind and your body and your desires by using a small hack that can also be misused. Again, I will keep saying that, but using it in a way that lets you become the best version of yourself. This is an ever-evolving concept. As I grow with these cycles and experience more novelty in this aspect of my life, I'll continue distilling more insights to help you transcend this powerful energy within your body rather than getting trapped by it, making it a destructive force. That's all we do. So as our community of collective, self-improvement folks grows, so will the collective conscious grow as well. That will benefit all of us with more ideas and novelty that we can build on together. If you made it this far, you're already on a different level than most of the guys. You're not just a passive consumer of this content, you're someone who actually is seeking improvement. Stay on this path. Wisdom and knowledge I've shared are just the beginning. What you do with it is what really matters. Let's continue to rise above the noise and be a part of a movement that transcends, the superficial and, superficial life and aims for something greater. This video is dedicated to all the loving women in my life and to every woman who faces harassment on a daily basis. I've seen this issue firsthand, like with my mother and sister, and it weighs heavily on me, right? Like when they go out of the house. Especially I want to honor the memory of the 31-year-old doctor who was horrifically raped, right? Murdered by multiple individuals who have no understanding of themselves. While they are fully responsible for their heinous acts, it's the societal narratives that fuel those actions in a way. Only a new approach like the one we're talking about here, and maybe many others who come after this. So this is what will spark a change in the mind of one person, and that can lead to the ripple effect and can truly make a difference. Subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. We're in this together, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.